or not, Happy New Year's Day. If you don't mind, I'll go right to it because I've still got to fit dinner before I go down to the shop tonight. So I'll jump right in. In the last week, I worked on chassis number 8 with Milo Wing. We planted a noble fir outside the WIKISPEED shop as an addition to the food forest. We researched dimensions on other engine technologies, and we I test drove a used Honda Odyssey minivan to check out if its engine and transmission would be good donors to get running cars faster. I had a brief follow-up with Chris on the line about what I wish would happen with the wiring harnesses extension. We shall see. I had a phone call with Rob Morbacher on the washing machine electric drive, and it looks like it might do a low-speed test vehicle, which would be better than a no-speed test vehicle, which is what we're bumping into now with a lot of these projects. So I'm a fan, and Rob Morbacher thinks he can pull it off very cheaply. What else did I do? I machined some aluminum. We started cutting aluminum for a next-gen bolt-together engine module. Right now, we don't have a blank engine module in the Linwood shop, and that's a prerequisite for trying another engine technology. Well, we have 3 Honda R18A engines in the shop, but all of them are down for wiring issues. So I'm desperately hoping one of the people Chris Wallace reached out to will be able to come through, because then we might have 3 engine modules to be determined. And I continue to search Craigslist and eBay Motors for used engine electronics with matching keys, but that's really hard to find, the matching key part. And we're not able to reprogram the keys without a complete working car to drive to a dealer and then swap the ECU and ask them to match the key if they like us. That's up to them if they choose to reprogram the key for us. But they can only do it through a functioning car. They need a working OBD2 port. Milo Wing isn't on stand-up, so I'll also say he plumbed the Linwood shop for shop air. So there's now compressed air on overhead hoses and 2 bays. That might speed up some of the prototyping. We'll see. It could be a whip. Gosh, I know there's more I did. I do have a block. I can remember that at least. I still haven't heard back from the Libre at all. Our license just expired, and their salespeople aren't even returning my emails. I'll try to call them. I imagine they're closed today. I'll try to call them tomorrow because the emails aren't going through. But we may need to use free CAD or purchase a CAD option, which is too bad because there's a lot of stuff I would have liked to have CAD'd in the meantime. Oh, that's the rest of what I did. Milo and I laid out a prototype of a bolt-together engine module frame, and I did mention we started cutting it, but we updated that design, and I have a demo video of our whiteboard session of that design, so people should be able to replicate it as soon as I upload that video. But my phone has started to die, so I ordered a new phone that's not here yet, which should let me download the videos more easily. We shall see. In the next week, I hope to make more progress on chassis number 8. If I can, I'll order the remaining aluminum we need to complete the bolt-together engine module frame. And I hope to know enough about the wiring options to hang a Honda engine in that frame, or find something that's running that has complete electronics, so like a used car that I can afford, which would need to be less than $2,000, which is slim pickings for something reliable and with any pretensions of fuel economy. But we'll see. And hopefully get a car back on the road shortly. So in the next week, I hope to make more headway on chassis number 8, make more headway on the bolt-together engine module frame, maybe unblock our CAD solution, and depending on what we learn about making our own Honda wiring harnesses, make a decision or at least create a backlog to have a engine with matching electronics. I'll go right into retrospective for me too and do it all as a chunk. Um, well, actually, no, I shouldn't do retrospective until I've heard from other folks and seen other demos. So that's it for me. Who would like to go next?
Let's see. So last week, yeah, I researched. Of course, I've been looking a lot into these wire harness connectors. Um, I ran across a forum that one person thought that I guess I don't remember the name now. Sumitomo, is that right?
I
Makes
think
the connectors, right? And it turns out that actually multiple manufacturers make them. But when I did go to their site, I was able to go through the connectors they had available and find one that matched up, which was kind of impressive because there's so many connectors.
yeah,
But
I'm amazed at your patience.
right, and and actually, I will share the screen on that. I don't know if this really is worthy of a demo, but um, I went ahead and posted in the card, in the Carica card that's tracking this, the information for all the part numbers for the connectors, the terminals, the seals, and the little snap-on piece that goes over one of the connectors there. So
Fantastic.
hopefully that will help for whoever needs to order it or whatever's going on there. Okay, so other than that, I sent um, an email to both. There's two different wire restoration companies I'm dealing with, so I went ahead and sent the ignition pictures, connector pictures to both of them, and basically tried to follow up. One I haven't gotten any response from other than the initial response, and the second one he only gave me about half the information. So I'll end up getting in touch with them again next week. I sent Charles Fraser an email. He's, I guess, from the Foundation for the Common Good. He was asking about how to integrate, I guess, Skype into their weekly stand-up or their stand-ups that they do. So I gave him a quick rundown on how this is set up using Google Hangouts and Uber Conference for the calls and things like that. Um, the computer that Joe and Milo mailed that has Linux on it, I received that. I've got it set up. There was, I don't know if when it was shipped, if the hard drive was secured in the case and hooked up, but it was not when it got here, which is surprising if it was, because that thing had more packing material in it than, it shouldn't have been able to move at all. But anyway, so I got that secured. I got a Wi-Fi network card in it. I got it booted up. I installed two pieces of software that should allow me to use it with YouTube live events. It's Webcam Studio and FFmpeg. And then right now it's updating, so it's not actually hosting the stand-up yet. Hopefully by next week it'll at least be hosting it, and if everything goes really well, it will be doing a YouTube live event also. Um, and I tried to add the rest of the Dropbox folders to my Dropbox account, but it told me that my Dropbox account was full, and I suspect this is because I have them added previously, like downloaded to my Dropbox, not connected back to the folder. So I think I need to delete what I have in two of the folders and sync them back up. It just basically didn't go easily on the first try there. What do I have for that's I think that's pretty much it for last week. I'm not sure. I didn't keep track of it too good. Um, as far as blocks, I've got this is something I looked into a couple of weeks ago, setting up a Google AdSense account just to see how it worked and see if it was something that was beneficial for us. I found the page to sign up, but it did ask some questions about official company information and banking information that I wasn't sure about. So I don't know if it would be best just to do a hangout real quick one day, share the screen, and knock it out. Maybe Joe, if you're available. So, and then for next week, so I'll go ahead and clean up my Dropbox account so I can sync those files correctly to OwnCloud. I'm going to directly contact the manufacturer of the accelerator pedal connector, and then I found at least one distributor and see what their deal is, what quantities they'll let us deal with. I'm basically looking at, I mean, one of those plastic connectors is probably like $1.50 from the manufacturer, but like 70 to $100 from the harness restoration people. So it maybe, if even like we were discussing an email, even if we have to buy them in bulk, it may end up being cheaper, and definitely in the long run will be cheaper. Um, Oh, of course, and I'll call the harness restoration people too to see that there was some the one that did reply to me. There was some confusion in what he didn't understand when he did the pairs of connectors. So I'll get in touch with him to make sure he understands what's going on there. Okay, I'll finish up the Linux computer setup, and then I have here. I want to post at least one blog to the website. Originally, that was from a few weeks ago. I wanted to put a blog up about the engine module, where we're at with that, and if we can get some help with it. Or I may had another idea. I may actually do both of these if I have time. But basically, just some why I originally joined Team WIKISPEED, what my motivations were for it, and that might be something people can share out. Maybe give them an idea of what they want to do too. So, and I guess that's it for me.
I'd love to read both of those if they happen. Chris, any other blocks? Any blocks you want to call out explicitly?
Not that I can really think of, other than the trying to identify those ignition connectors. I think the engine harness people they do know what those they said they have, but I think them telling me who makes them and what the part numbers are is next to impossible.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if we're just very clear that we're not in any way competing with them. Lauren, I know you said you were intending to lurk, but is there anything you'd like to add for a stand-up?
Can't think of anything except that I mentioned before, I think that I used some Scrum or actually maybe more Joe techniques, and it was helpful on a job. So thank you.
Fantastic.
It was sort of a team that was not getting along well, and then they started getting along.
Glad you were able to make a difference in the team. And I'm glad to see you on the call. Thanks for taking the time to dial in. And I know you emailed.
I missed it. I missed the meeting. I missed it.
I appreciate your work on the service. It was received, as you mentioned.
Yeah, actually, in the free form discussion, I do have something to talk about that.
Okay. All right. Well, then that takes us to LSTAT. Is there anyone on the call with a stand-up who has not yet given it? Okay. That takes us to retrospective. My happiness in my role is a 10. There's a shop by my house, and Milo is waiting in it to do even more work. In fact, he's doing some right now. So my ability to engage with the team is easy and awesome. For the team, I'd give us a solid 8. We're trudging towards solving our primary block, which is running elegant, durable engine modules, which we just are having a heck of a time conquering right now. We used to get them out, but then we lost the resource that knew most about it. So hopefully, I love that the team is swarming to get it done. I was doing work on it now. Chris, your work is, of course, directly in line with it. Thanks so much. And I hope we're even having a little bit of fun as we do it. A try of what we could do to be even more productive and have more fun next week. I love that we seem to be focused on a single item. We seem to be swarming on running engine modules. I would say a process improvement would be continuing that if people are comfortable with it. I think it's knocking down barriers, invalidating or invalidating options to point the way ahead more quickly than we had been. Who would like to go next?
I'll go probably like a 6.5 for me. The past couple of weeks, I've been taking it a little easy, trying to recharge the energy levels. But I actually have had a lot of fun looking into the wire harness stuff. It's a big learning curve for me, but there's plenty of information out there to look around and have fun with. So I'll say maybe like a 9 for the team because the same thing. It does seem like everybody is fairly well focused on our biggest priority, which is a good thing. So, and I don't have a process improvement for this week, so I'll go with yours. Sounds good.
Lauren, would you like to add a retrospective?
Can't think of anything to do with WIKISPEED. I'm still kind of I met an inventor on the island and had coffee with him. So there's a couple of people who invent, and one of them is the guy I already told you about, world famous. Anyway, nothing beyond that.
Thanks, Lauren. Is there anyone with a retrospective who is not yet given?
I did just remember something. I think it may have been from 2 weeks ago that I had done. I shared the Wiki Speedlit challenge. I think possibly I don't remember what order I did this in, but either way, I ended up sharing it in my Facebook page and tagging a bunch of people, which is not something I've done before because sometimes I can be construed as a little rude. So I was very specific about who I tagged in it to make sure people got the post that may be interested in something along those lines. And got about a week later, some old friends of mine put a post up about WikiSpeed. Basically, they weren't aware of it, and they thought it was the coolest thing they had heard of in a long time. So they ended up posting up the TEDx Rainier talk and tagging me in it and saying thanks for showing us this. We're looking into maybe setting up something in Nashville, I believe. So that's hopefully that'll be interesting if they get going with that. And I gave them a little bit of more information about how to join the team and how to get started. So.
Love it. With that was demo, sprint planning, blocking issues, and then retrospective, and that's complete. This is the open conversation part of the call. Lauren, I know you said you had something. If you guys don't mind, I'll take just a few minutes because I still need to eat dinner before getting to the shop. But let's do it. Folks, any open conversation or crosstalk that might be helpful or fun?
Okay, I'll just outline this. I looked at again, for the first time in a few months since we mocked that up last spring, at what actually came on the service mark, which is what we put in. So the one thing kind of I thought is it says existing products. But I think most things like a car is an existing product. I think if it was like it was basically a consultation on existing products supplying you saw it. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah. So if we had more experience, we might have expanded it a bit. The thing was that they come back if it's not exactly something in their list. If you do something in their list, which is what the lawyer proposed, or he proposed something that already existed that he knew about. So I think it was encompassing enough. Did you have any comments on that?
I'm not worried about it. Here's what I mean. I'm not expecting another company to have a clean manufacturing on the piece that we didn't correctly protect. I'm not much of one for protecting documentation anyway. I'm more of an open source type of person. This is more to make sure that we are allowed to continue using it. And I think it's more than enough for that to happen.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. So good. On the same page. That's it.
Love it, Lauren. Any other conversation in the open time? Any other topics that would be valuable or fun?
If we are able to get these connectors, I guess the next piece of information I would need is the gauge of wire that goes into each one, so that we can start. If we go the route of making them completely ourselves, the harness restoration people basically will send one with some wire leads in it already, and you kind of disassemble it, and put it back together. That brings up a good point too about the existing wire harnesses may be able to be extended without an extension by replacing the wire that's in it instead of splicing it. Taking the connector off of the existing wire, making a longer wire, and then putting the connector back on. I don't know if that runs into the same issues as splicing, just like I don't know if the extensions could run into the same issues. So.
Right. You brought up a fantastic point that just adding length of wire might be difficult for some of these precision sensors, and I don't know. And especially when we're talking about 2-3 meters of wire, it may. I don't know. Especially something as sensitive, I hope, as the accelerator pedal sensor. That said, automotive electronics tend to be very durable, and by very durable, I mean very high tolerance, especially Honda parts in general. I don't know about their electronics specifically, but I've seen so many Honda engines with hundreds of thousands of miles where the owner had never changed the oil. And a company that thinks that way, I hope would encourage their electronics suppliers to think that way as well. But I don't know. But the value of a plug-in harness where we don't cut any is we know we have a known good engine wiring harness. It's known good from the factory, and we know only our extension is the variable. Whereas the moment we cut the extension, cut any connectors to either add an extension or splice or however it's done, we've added an irreversible change in unknown to that wiring harness. And I wouldn't normally worry about it too much, except we've had so many expensive wiring harnesses become so non-known good that we haven't been able to use them. In fact, I have boxes and boxes of trimmed wiring harnesses from many attempts at this by many different people, some of whom claims to be professionals and maybe even were, and they didn't result in running cars. So I love the idea where the experimental portion, the portion that we're making until we're really good at it, is completely sequestered, and we then have a known good on the other end. That said, if we can't find connectors, we're back to that anyway. Maybe we just need to get better at splicing and modifying harnesses. That is a valuable fallback, which is where we are
now. Also on the idea of if even in the extension, if it does increase the resistance and change the voltage, I mean, if we can calculate that, there may be something we can do to compensate for it too. If we know exactly how much resistance is being added by length of cable or by length of copper, we should be able to maybe add something that will remove that resistance. So.
Right. Or in a worst case, as mentioned in the first email, we could always just put the accelerator pedal in the back of the car and have a rod that goes back, a physical mechanical linkage.
It would work.
It would. The scary thing is, what if something jams or you get rear-ended or something, right? So I'd rather have it be electronic. But that's the same issue in any throttle cable actuated cars. There's a physical cable, which is most cars. And if the cable gets stuck, which luckily they almost never do, but they sometimes do. Mm-hmm. Or if you get in an accident, you pin that cable open. And that's how most cars are made. Guys, with that, it's 6:31. I think you folks are awesome. I'd like to eat dinner. Is there anything last minute?
As my grandmother would say, go eat.
Okay. Oh, guys, by the way, March 16th again is South by Southwest. And I have one complimentary day pass for South by Southwest. Really want people to buy tickets. But if anyone has plans to be in Austin March 16th, let me know, because it would be really cool to see people, whether you attend South by Southwest or not. So there, so I mentioned that.
That is, I think I mentioned in an email, that's about 3.5 hour drive from me. So I actually do plan on being there if possible.
Yeah, so it's like a gallon of gas if you have a Okay, guys, later.
Bye.
We'll see you later, Lauren.